Hey, welcome back to my studio. It is a rather grim May British day. It's been raining all month. Pretty grim here, but there we go. That's why it looks a little bit moody in here. It's actually just the light in the room. Anyway, I digress. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the best investments that I've made. Now, these investments might not translate directly to what you do in photography, but if you do anything similar to me, or maybe you can relate them to what you do, some of them are absolutely universal, and not just for photography, but for life in general. But let's dive into it and talk about the best investments I've made in photography. Now, first up is something all of us can do, and that is test shooting. And I want to go a little bit deeper into this, because it's not just going, I'm going to do a test shoot today. I'm talking about investing into test shoots, investing into having a director on set, investing into having a good team of stylists, good talent, good food, whatever it may be. Rather than just going, let's take a picture of this today and getting your mate round to help, actually building a team together of like-minded people, of skilled people, paying them the going rate and getting something good. Too many people take photographs too often for the sake of taking photographs, and I come from a sporting background, and we always used to say piss poor practice produces piss poor performance. And that is true for photography if it was true for anything. And making sure that the practice you're putting in there is of a high quality, and that the portfolio work you're producing is of as high a quality as the sort of work you want to get booked for. If you want to be shooting big campaigns with a big team, your test shoots need to reflect that. And getting some people in who are not very good, who work for free or whatever it may be, is not going to put you in that sphere. Now, next up is something which is more specific to what I do, and that's getting a good tripod, or in my case, a studio stand. Loads of you asked me what that big stand is. It's a Manfrotto Salon. I still can't say it. A Manfrotto, they're Italian, aren't they? Manfrotto Salon stand. And given my time again, I'd buy Cambo, knowing that they're actually better than Manfrotto. But this one came to me, it's what I've got, and it is one of the best bits of kit I've ever invested into. And I would happily pay £5,000 for a good tripod. The amount of time they save you, and just the peace of mind they give you on a shoot, especially when you're doing stuff where there's back plates and composites and things are going to be added, you need that tripod to stay still. Now, my advice would be to buy the most expensive tripod you can afford secondhand. So if you have £500, don't buy a £500 brand new tripod, buy a £500 secondhand tripod, and you'll probably end up with £1,000 worth of tripod. There's not a great deal that can go wrong with high-end tripods. The one that I've got is older than me, and the one that I'm shooting this on here is also older than me. So, my kit gets pretty battered. It's been in planes, it's been on, international railway, it's been couriered to places, and they still work fine. So absolutely invest in good quality tripods. I tend not to go carbon fiber. I tend to go for aluminium because you can throw it, drop it, dent it, and all the rest of it. Carbon's a bit more shatterable, which I don't think is an actual word. But that's my personal preference. If I was perhaps mountain over a hike, I'm not with it today, am I? If I was perhaps hiking over a mountain, I might consider some lightweight carbon fiber. But there we go. Tripods, studio stands, very good investment. So next up we have education, and that is not necessarily education in terms of going to university, buying a workshop, going on a course, going to a seminar, but it's actually taking the time, which in itself is your money, and investing it into yourself, into making yourself better. And this goes along with the test shoots to a certain extent. It's not enough just to keep plodding along and keep doing things. There has to be some sort of structure. You have to have some sort of end goal, and you need to break those things down. Coming from a sporting background, it always helps me to see it as if it's a sporting event, the final, sort of decided image. And then I break down what I need to do, how much time it's going to take to learn those elements, and then put it all together. And I think that's a great thing, and something that, bizarrely enough, a lot of photographers don't invest the time into. Now, for me personally, I shoot a lot of stuff which is cut out and composited together, and I bought some high-resolution cameras to be my studio staples. Now, we rent the big cameras in for the big jobs. I can't afford to have a Hasselblad sat here gathering dust, but I can afford to have two 5DSR bodies kicking around here. And having that higher resolution means that when we need to shoot multiple items of cutouts, we can do it in a single frame and then cut them all out, rather than doing it one item at a time. And that saves me so much time. Bit of clever lighting, use of the inverse square law, getting the focus right and the hyperfocal distance correct, and using lenses which have a good edge-to-edge sharpness means that what would have taken me several hours to do, I can now do in a single frame. And that has been a great investment. I think I put about £4,000 into the camera, and it will have paid for itself within a few days. My clients appreciate that too, because obviously they're having that saving passed on to them. So, it's a great thing all round. Also, having those high resolution cameras in the studio at an affordable price means that when I'm test shooting, I don't have to rent a Phase or a Hasselblad at £800 a day, and I can use those, and they're good enough most of the time. Unless there's a specific reason for a test shoot, I probably wouldn't rent a Phase camera for that. Now, what you can see behind me is my new computer setup, and it is a new Mac Mini M1. It is not the greatest computer in the world. It is considerably better than what I had before, and it is also another computer. And here's the reason for this. So I have two locations, my home and my studio, and I pretty much ping pong between the two. My laptop travels with me, and that's what I work on at home on a little SSD drive. My Mac Mini stays here. It is normally rendering, generating previews, exporting, data transferring through the night. Having more than one machine means that I can just continually work at any location and have something going on elsewhere. And for the sake of, I think it cost me £1,400 for the Mac Mini spec'd out, that allows me to produce so much more work. And within the space of a couple of weeks, it would have paid for itself. The other thing is, when we're backing up, having lots of SSD drives just makes the transfer of data quicker at the end of the day. And although it's maybe not directly making me money, the time it saves me allows me to put that time and reallocate it to things that do make me money, like YouTube videos, workshops, test shoots. These sorts of things are where the money's actually made. Although YouTube paid me £200 last month, so maybe not YouTube. Now, the last item on my list is this. This is a Dymo label maker. You pop your letters in, click your label out, cut it off and stick it on. Everything in my studio is meticulously labelled. Plugs are labelled, cables are labelled, drives are labelled. Everything has a label. Now, this is an investment in both time and money. The actual machine itself costs very little. You just look for an embossed label making machine. They're about £20, $25, euros, that sort of price range. The time factor is a little bit more, but you will never accidentally unplug your computer again. You will never not know what a plug socket is doing. You will never be unsure as to what a cable is for. Everything should be labelled. The time savings over the course of a day are pretty big. You multiply that over the course of a year and you're saving weeks of your life, not faffing around with things, trying to work out what they are. Plug in the drive in, see what's on it. Label it. Just label everything. Label your cameras, your lens caps, your lens hoods. If you're shooting weddings, label all of your kits. So when you're shooting with multiple shooters, whose is what, and you don't have to go home at the end of the day and phone everyone going, has anyone seen my body cap? I've misplaced it. Just label it. Thank me later. Also, it's a pretty nice aesthetic with the embossed label maker. I'm pretty keen on it. Anyway, these are the best investments I've made. I'd love to hear in the comments what the best investments that you've made have been, because I'd love to see any other ways that I can be more productive with my time, productive with my money, whatever it may be. I'm always looking to improve that and try and move myself on a little bit, because being in Leicester, I'm sort of by myself most of the times and not surrounded by all that many creatives, so it's great to have this online community. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll speak to you all soon. Bye-bye.